there and back here. And could we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The overview of the public comment procedures. It is important Board of Education meetings are structured and efficient, so to allow the board to properly address the set agenda items in a civil and respectful manner. While New York state law does not require boards of education to have public comment period, this Board of Education finds civil and respectful public input to be valuable and important. To promote this, the following structures have been put in place related to the public input portion of the agenda. First, public input will be at the end of the agenda. This allows the board to address all agenda items in a timely manner and does not discourage or unduly delay members of the public who are attending related to the agenda items if the meeting agenda is significantly delayed due to individuals speaking to the board about non-agenda items. Second, we will set a total time limit of 30 minutes for public input, with 20 minutes dedicated to agenda items and 10 minutes to non-agenda items. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. A request to make public comment sheet for those wishing to participate in public comment is located on the table upon walking into the meeting, and when completed, given to the board clerk. Additionally, you may contact the board clerk at 315-697-2025 to sign up for public comment in advance. Concerns about individual students or staff are not to be made at public comment. If you have such concerns, the board clerk or superintendent will provide you with how and to whom you should share your concerns. If a member of the public wishes to address the board, but the time allotment expires for public input, the person may write to the board by sending any comments to the board clerk, or they may sign up to speak at the next regularly scheduled board meeting. Finally, the Board of Education will listen to public comment, but not immediately respond to the speaker. This is so the board has time to fully review any questions or claims and respond as appropriate. Thank you. The agenda, routine matters. Board of Education minutes, May 14th, 2024. CSE recommendations as follows. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Presentations, 2023-2024 retirement awards. John?
We'll move around to the front to make this easier. So,
Should we all get up? Or just,
I'm good.
Do you want me to hand them to you? That'd be easier. Do you want me to hand them to you?
But Debbie, if you like. So this is always a tough meeting, right? Because we want to congratulate people who've had long careers, dedicated years of their life, of their professional life to Canastota. So it's bittersweet, but yet we're happy for them because they're able to do things that are important to them and maybe have some more time to explore things that they don't have time to do. So this was an interesting group of people that we're going to be recognizing tonight that we're saying thank you to. Some people were not able to be here tonight. We're still going to read their names and acknowledge them. We also are acknowledging people who've retired at different points of the year. So some people actually retired quite some time ago, but they weren't retired at the time that we did this last year. So what can you say about 231 years of combined service to Canastota? We're going to talk about 10 people who are retiring today with that number of years. So even if you're not great at math, we can still tell that 231, so we're about 23 years on average. And we'll tease some people a little bit, because a couple of people we'll recognize brought down the average. We're going to give them a little bit of a hard time. But that's a lot of years. When you think of that in totality, 231 years of service to Canastota, that's longevity, that's dedication, that's wanting to do good things for kids in our school. So and I think, hopefully, all of those retirees are going to reflect on their career and say, we chose wisely. Because there aren't too many better jobs than knowing that you're making a difference in the life of a student, giving them an opportunity, maybe being their mentor, inspiring them to be the best they can be. So it's a pretty important job. It's a pretty daunting job. It's not for everybody, right? And so it's really commendable that people have made such a great career molding young people, and really no better job you could have. So it's time to say thank you. And I want to first just recognize some people who couldn't be here with us tonight, but there's some people who have a lot of years of service to the district. Barbara Curtis, school monitor for 36 years in Canastota, who retired in January. So congratulations to Barbara. Michelle Minch, who was a teacher here for 34 years, who retired back in September. And Joanne Vaccaro, our school nurse for 5 years, who had 5 years of dedicated service to the district. Also not able to be here, Bob Esposito, who was a business teacher for 9 years in the district. So congratulations to those retirees, and we wish them well, and hope they're not strangers around the district. Thank you. So we're going to go in order of service. All right, so we're going to work backwards. And work to the most years of service in the district. So with 10 years of service to Canastota Schools is a bus driver, which we all know is a really easy job, right? Anybody can do it. It's a piece of cake. One of the toughest jobs there is. Incredible admiration for people who can do it. And we appreciate everything Bob has done for 10 years. So Bob, come on up. All right, we're jumping up a lot of years. There's a big gap. We go up to 29 years of service to the district. We actually have 2 people with 29 years of service, and they're both named Steve. So I can't mess this one up too much, right? 29 years of service is a music teacher in Canastota, Steve Button.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, 29 years of service to Canastota, also named Steve. Science teacher, Steve Luby. Thank you. All right, now we're getting up into big time numbers. 30 years of service. This is an interesting one because Susan didn't really want to retire, so she retired, and now she's going to be coming back, still working with us. So that didn't last long. So her retirement is short. So you better make it a good summer, I guess, because then it's just back to normal. So 30 years of service is a special education teacher, Susan O'Neill. So those are pretty good numbers, 29, 29, 30, those are some pretty big numbers. Now we're going to go really big. And somebody we haven't seen in a little while, so it's nice to see her again, because it's been a little while. But, should I call you by name? I've only known her as Peachy. Rosemary Lone Peachy, I think everybody knows her. 47 years of service to Canastota in our food service area. So, and who retired actually back in October. So we've missed her, but it's great to see her here. And I'm pretty impressive for 47 years. You should write a book or something that talks about things you've seen and done. Come on up. Congratulations. It's great to see you. Thank you. What's our record? We should go into the history books and do some research of what is our longest serving employee. So congratulations to all of our retirees. I think we'd like to get while we have everybody here, like to get a picture of those that are here. So Tracy's giving directions over there.
The board? If you want to, or either you can or Colleen can, whatever you prefer. You want to read it, Colleen? That's fine.
You don't want me to? I can read it.
Go ahead.
So we have another, sort of a unique, he's a unique person for those of you who know him. I've known him for a while. And he already retired. But he was sort of, I don't know, dedicated enough, crazy enough, combination of all those things. He wanted to come back after 20-plus years as a school administrator. And so he retired a number of years ago. We've been fortunate to have him back here the last couple of years. It was a tough time because we're coming out of COVID and we were really needing stability and needing leadership at Robert Street. And so while he's already retired, we want to say thank you to Mr. Sajnog. He's got to come up here as he embarks on a sort of another retirement.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do you want, go ahead, read that.
So Joanne Vaccaro couldn't be here, so she sent a letter that she would like read aloud, so I'm going to read it to everybody. She said, Sean Becerra and the Board of Education members, thank you for the opportunity to be honored by our district for my years of service. I regret to inform you I won't be able to attend. My twin boys have their first debut in drama club at McAllister tonight. My journey has opened my eyes to so many opportunities to serve, not just as your Southside school nurse, but so much more than I could ever imagine as my Southside families. I feel so blessed for my 5 years as your school nurse. This position has offered me the same schedule as my boys, a close connection to so many of my students, their families, and our staff. The list is so endless, and seeds planted have only just begun to bloom. Moving forward, I am taking the bull by its horns and delivering into home care as a nurse case manager. I feel as though my life has just begun. Thank you, Sean, for the very best job in the entire district, and all those who supported me on my way. Blessings to you all. Love, Joanne.
How nice.
Sorry that Joanne couldn't be with us tonight. So congratulations to all our retirees, and maybe why don't you stay up for a minute? And we'll ask Kathleen to come up as well. Because we have to get around the table here and walk along. So this is also a tough one because, my first job in the school was when I was 19 and when I was a coach. I've done this a long time. I had the privilege of working with a lot of really good people over the years. And, when you think of what goes into being a good board member, a few things come to mind. Certainly, first and foremost, you're thinking about kids. You're thinking about how can you do the right thing for kids? How can you give kids opportunities? Can they make the tough decision sometimes when it's not the easy decision, right? And I think everybody who's ever been in that role has said, wow, it's a whole different perspective once you're actually in the role, right? Once you're actually in the role, it's tough. So do those people have those qualities? Is it about kids? Is it about being responsible and respectful to taxpayers, right? Are we spending our money wisely? And so when we look at some of the things that are most important, what makes a good board member, who are good stewards of the district's finances and the district in general, those are some of the things you ask for. And I would suggest that by all those measures, when you look at our retiring board members, they've done very well by any measurement and metric that we could use. Their time on the board, Kathleen with 6 years of service, Debbie with 9 years of service on the board. That time was not always easy, and I've been here for a good chunk of that when it was tough, right? We were a district who was identified by the state. We then have to get through a couple of years of COVID, so you have a once-in-a-lifetime, pandemic. Major capital projects, right? And through it all, right through those difficult times, they've been on this board. They've been the steady influence of getting through those tough times. How do we get through a pandemic? How do we get through improving our performance so that we are a district in good standing? How do we update our facilities and do it in a way that is responsible and respectful to taxpayers? And we're in the process now. The fruits of their labor will be happening as we move forward, because the project that they've worked on and developed and planned, that's going to be now happening again in the next couple of years. So this district was going to look completely different and in a very positive way. And the financial management side, year after year, of the highest report from the State Comptroller's Office and top-level reports from our auditors. So by every measure away is improvement. Is our academic programming improved under their watch? Well, don't take my word for it. It takes the state's word for it. Yes, the answer is yes. The district has improved. Our facilities improved. Our finances are in good shape. How many districts would want to trade? There's a lot of districts that might want to change places with us now because they were able to make some tough decisions sometimes. It wasn't always easy to do. So I just, and I know things are a little easier in the age of social media. I think of, I'm a history person, a social studies person. And I thought of some things that some wise people have said. I thought of Teddy Roosevelt, right? Everybody's heard, and I hadn't looked at it in a while, but I refreshed my memory, okay? Teddy Roosevelt, right? The man in the arena. And I thought it's appropriate today, because I have tremendous respect, as I think many people do, of people who actually step into the arena, right? Anybody can have an opinion, anybody can talk, anybody can say anything, but it takes a real problem solver, a real person of action, a person of integrity to step into the arena and say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to actually step up and make a difference. So Teddy Roosevelt said, it's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. I thought, you know what? Sometimes we don't need to find new words. We can look back to our past. Teddy Roosevelt had it nailed. I think it's about being a person of action and about knowing how to move an organization forward, in this case, the Canastota Central Schools. So we appreciate all of the things that Kathleen and Debbie have done. I can, without question, attest that every single time that we've had to work on something that's difficult, their focus has always been, what's the right thing to do? Not what's the easy thing to do, maybe what's not the popular thing to do, what's the right thing to do. So that's, I should paraphrase, it's not necessarily the man in the arena, maybe in some cases the woman in the arena. I will correct Teddy's words, but the concept applies. So thank you to both of you. Can't thank you enough. I've appreciated all the time that we've worked together, millions of hours that we've worked together on some tough things, and I know the rest of the board does as well. So congratulations. Thank you. 9 years of service, and can we get a picture with the whole board as well? Where are we going to here again? Same spot.
Thank you. Next thing on the board is the New York State School Boards Association Board of Excellent Recognition Award.
I still need glasses, right? Okay, so a lot of things. I guess this is the time of the year where we're recognizing people, and certain things are coming to a conclusion. So we also have an opportunity today to recognize one of our board members. As many people know, the New York State School Boards Association is really the guiding force behind what happens in school boards. They set the tone and provide professional development and really set the standard for what is professional conduct for board members, school board members. And so I'm pleased to let everyone know that board member Maureen Wood has achieved the Level 1 Board Achievement Award under the New York State School Boards Association Excellence Recognition Program. And so at this point, she receives a certificate of recognition for her work in her professional pursuits to be the most effective board member possible. So congratulations to Maureen. They send a lot of stuff. So the certificate is part of that as well. So congratulations. And I think that's a thing that is not always recognized either, that along with participating in meetings, there's a lot of work regarding, with training and keeping up to date as far as how things are expected to run by the state's acknowledged professional organization. So congratulations to Maureen.
Is Liz here?
Liz is not here, so.
So, are you going to do this?
Well,
Or are you going to just...
So, this will be brief. Unfortunately, I would as well. I know the people here would rather hear Mrs. Garofalo give an update. She had a nice presentation for you. Unfortunately, she's a little under the weather tonight, which is, she asked me to just give you a quick update. I want her to be able to give a more complete update because she, as everyone knows who knows her, she puts a lot of work into and prepares. So I'll give you a Reader's Digest version of what she wanted to talk about. She wanted to talk about it because we're already in June. This new program she's working on, this entrepreneurship program. This is, we're sort of at the tail end of, as Mrs. Leone is not thrilled about, the tail end of some of our federal ESSA funding. The nice thing that provides is some opportunities to do some creative things, or in some cases, launch some things that are newer or emerging, with the hopes that if we start it, then it'll be easier to keep going in years to come when maybe the money isn't as available. So she's going to be running an entrepreneurship camp this summer. She's been talking to high school students. I would encourage anyone, because it's new, I'd encourage students to ask the guidance office about it if they have questions, certainly Mrs. Garofalo or myself, because this is a pretty cool way of doing real-world things. The hope is that we can start this process by which students are sort of building on our micro-credential program, able to work with people in the real world. So, for example, ZEMS is going to be participating. Everybody knows Rick Stevens, for example, knows he's the kind of guy who gets things done. He's a positive person. That's the kind of person we want kids to be learning from. So he's agreed to be a part of this process by which, he's talking about his story and how he built his businesses and use that as a launch to give them maybe some ideas and also maybe serve as a mentor to some of to those kids who have an idea. Excuse me. So we have a number of people lined up, and she's still working on the people who are going to be a part of this program. As you know, we worked with the Boxing Hall of Fame, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, in my superintendent's update, because we just had our induction weekend. But they're still going to help us is in terms of showing kids who maybe weren't a part of the ambassador program. How do you start from scratch what becomes an international Hall of Fame in Canastota, New York? It only happens if somebody has persistence and a vision and an action plan to make it happen. So how do we learn from the Rick Stevens or the Ed Brophies or people like that who build great things in our community? The hope is that we create a cycle, an ongoing cycle, where kids then start developing, with the guidance of some of these mentors around them, their ideas. The challenge is how can you transform Canastota? How can you make it better? And maybe at the same time develop your own skills that you're interested in. And where do those interests of students intersect with what our regional business community and social organizations need? Where do they meet? And that's the perfect spot, right? Where interest and enthusiasm of students meets the regional need. And we've seen that with our students who are involved with GLASS, which is a number of students who have really taken off in working through in that program. And we need that type of service in our community. So it's about community sustainability as much as it is providing opportunities for our kids. So that's what Liz is working on. She's excited about it. The first version of this is happening in July, where we do the launch, and we talk to some of those people, and we sort of explain in more detail the purpose of the program. And then as we get into September, for example, there's going to be an initial evening session after the dust settles on the start of the new school year in late September. We'll have our first cohort of kids who will be presenting an update on where they are. And then that starts the continual process for hopefully years to come. We have a group of kids who are starting this process, guided by mentors in the community, developing their ideas, presenting their ideas from the initial pitch, here's my idea, this is what I'm going to do, to updates during the course of the year, and then hopefully the really cool part of when they actually produce the product. This is what I created. Some of the things that we'd like to do, we want to merge, for example, with the Chamber of Commerce or the Village, who have identified challenges that need to be solved regionally. I've worked in this type of model before. It's pretty cool when you identify a regional need and you let students work on it. They'll solve problems. They'll solve real problems that exist in the community if we give them that outlet. So it's a pretty cool opportunity, and hopefully that will perpetuate into the future. Liz will do a much better job explaining it, but she wanted me to give you a little bit of a snapshot. So more to come with that. She will definitely be updating you and giving you progress reports. This is not a one and done thing. This is hopefully going to be going on for months and years. So, and hopefully Liz feels better soon.
Yeah. She's had a couple
Yep.
very, very busy weeks. Updates, principals. Somebody want to volunteer? Derek?
Derek's got the award and gets dibs.
Yes. So first of all, I just want to again congratulate the retirees. I know that there's been a lot of years of service to the students, to the district, and again, congratulations. There is a next chapter after retirement. I'm not good at it, but maybe it takes me another 3 or 4 times, but I wish you the best. Yeah, and it's well deserved. So again, enough of that. So congrats. So I have to come up and congratulate you.
Thank you.
And you as well, Kathleen, for your service and volunteerism. Thank you. All right, so the past month, kind of at the elementary, middle school levels, the month of field trips. So I just want to let you know and appreciate your support allowing our students to attend some of these venues. So I just want to run down just really quick. Kids went to Herkimer Diamond Mine in the past few weeks. They walked over to Zem's, had not only ice cream, participated in a variety of activities there too. Went to Chittenango Falls and Great Swamp, Verona Beach, and we have an upcoming award ceremony. Used to be the old, our annual moving up ceremony. Now it's going to be an award ceremony for 6th grade, and that's on the 25th. We also have a concert coming up on the 13th. Hope to see you there at 7 o'clock. It's for grades 4 through 6. And lastly, we have Fun Day tomorrow. So for those of you that may not be familiar with Fun Day, because it's a fun day every day at Robert Street. Right. So what is Fun Day? Well, we start off the day with downbeat percussion, which is really cool. I've only seen it on, on YouTube, but I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard nothing but great things. So then the kids are going to be involved. This is for grades 4 through 6. They're going to be doing Chalk the Walk, and then opposite of that, karaoke. So, Sean, when you come in and you see graffiti on the wall, don't pay any attention to that. It will come off.
Be oblivious.
It will come off.
The next dream song.
No, so that's going to be awesome. Mike Sipley does the karaoke in the auditorium. Then we've got the inflatables in Laidlaw Gym. That's pretty awesome. And they're going to start setting up early in the morning, get it ready for the kids. That's probably the highlight of Fun Day, or the inflatables. You should see them go all the way up to the up to the ceilings. The kids have a blast. Then we have STEM activities in the classroom in relationship to our upcoming Olympics. And then finally, we have cop races, which is a lot of fun. I just listed a few things they're doing: the egg and spoon relay, the chicken relay, I'm afraid to ask what that is, the shoe scramble, and the hula hoop relay. So just really a fun-filled day, and it goes all the way from, again, 8 o'clock till 2 o'clock. So getting ready for that. So, and the weather looks beautiful, so that's the most important part, to have this, especially with the cop races. So thank you. Again, in my last meeting, and to all of you, I just want to say thank you. It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure working at Canastota. So thank you for that opportunity. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
With all the busy that's going on at the end of the year, Peter's daughter actually had a concert tonight, so I told him I would come and give you the update of what's going on at the junior, senior high school.
Well, you just get a jump start. You just get an early start on having to do the updates.
Jumping right in. Yeah, perfect. So this morning we had our yearbook dedication where the students recognized the Condons, Tom as the staff member and Megan as the community member, looking at them being positive role models to the students inside and outside of the school. We also had 2 award ceremonies, one for 9th through 11th grade and this afternoon for our 7th and 8th graders. So a lot of students recognized for their academic achievement, for their improvement, and just their character. So what has happened? So we had our last choral concert, we had our last band concert of the year. Those were well attended by the community and the parents. We had our senior picnic yesterday. It was reportedly a very cold day, but they had a great time. Yesterday was our BOCES graduation, where 40 of our students received their certificate of completion for their CTE programs. We also last week had a sports banquet where the coach of the Syracuse women's basketball team came and spoke to the students and gave a very inspirational talk to them, and a lot of our athletes received awards. We also have some upcoming events. So unlike our seniors, which had a cold day, our 7th and 8th graders are going to Seabreeze on Thursday, and it's supposed to be 82 degrees. So we're looking forward to that. Regents start on Friday, so our students will obviously not be in attendance. I have let all of our 7th graders know that as being part of a middle school next year, they won't have to be sad ending school 2 weeks early, and they will get to go the whole time. So I think they're very excited about that. And then also the last week of June is all of our senior events, their senior dinner dance, practice for graduation leading up to graduation on the 28th. So all exciting things going on at the junior senior high school. All right, thanks.
Going all out of order
I see that.
Good, it keeps us going.
of all of the buildings, so I'm here to present the updates for Southside. Obviously, we had a very successful budget vote day last month, but on that day, we had a great 3rd grade concert. And it was more to me now as a building principal to see my entire third grade up there singing their hearts out, even some of them who don't like Taylor Swift up there singing away, you know, doing the best that they could. So that was great. And I want to say thank you to our art teacher and Mrs. Billy and our music teacher, Miss Miller, because there was also a K-12 art show and we had a lot of art on display, so that was exciting for me to see as well. We finished benchmarking for the year with NWEA, and our teachers, I believe K-6, conducted their oral reading fluencies. And you know, our kids are showing just great growth from the start of the year to the finish, which we'll follow up with probably in a later report for buildings. So the growth reports for students will actually be going home with students with their report cards, so families will be able to see that in all areas, so looking forward to that. And our teachers have been reviewing that data pretty well with Wendy Satchel, our instructional specialist, at our curriculum meetings. Our second graders visited the Rosemont Gifford Zoo last week and made it back just in time before the torrential downpour hit them as they were getting off the bus and into the building. So they did not make it completely dry, but at least they got in and were able to have a picnic lunch in the classes. They had a great time. Looking forward to visiting ZEMS next week or this week, Friday maybe, and with second grade, and then Monday with third grade. I myself just went to ZEMS for the very first time to try their soft pistachio ice cream cone. I will be probably going back a time or two before the end of the summer because it was really yummy and it was really cool there. So I'm looking forward for the kids to experience that. This week we're doing a nice big Flag Day ceremony. Again, Miss Miller, our music teacher, helping to prepare the kids with some patriotic music. And of course next week we have our field day event, which I learned from Mrs. Bonaventura is kind of a culmination of a lot of the different activities that they learn in PE classes throughout the year, but with a fun kind of twist to it. So I'm going to experience that for the first time next week. I'm looking forward to it. And I know that like Amber Bonaventura and Andrea Kincaid, our PE teachers at K3, get here at like 5 o'clock in the morning to set that up so that it goes and runs smoothly for our students. So hoping everything goes as planned, and excited to be part of it.
Thank you.
Also very exciting and busy at Peterborough Street. 9 days to go. We're keeping track. We are hosting our kindergarten transition meeting for pre-K and Head Start parents this evening. So that started at 6 o'clock tonight. We had 20 or 30 parents that came for a little sneak peek and how we make that transition smooth from pre-K to kindergarten. Kindergarten has been busy practicing songs for graduation on the 21st, and our kindergarten teachers have been hosting pre-K classes. They've been coming in for a story to get familiarized with our teachers, again, to help make that transition nice and smooth. We've got a Father's Day gathering coming up Friday. I really want to give a shout out to our kindergarten teachers. We were rained out of our Utica Zoo trip last week, but we shifted gears, and the amazing teachers and aides had a zoo day at school, and the kids had an absolute ball. They got to bring their stuffies from home. They had different centers and stations they rotated through. They ate lunch in their classroom. So I don't even think they really missed going to the zoo because they had such an amazing time. They were building the zoo with the blocks and had their animals there. So there was a lot of fun stuff going on. We also have a ZEMS trip coming up for all of the grade levels at Peterborough Street too. First grade is celebrating the end of the year with a really fun ABC end of year countdown for the month. So there is a virtual trip to Disney that's coming up. On the F&G day, that was Fun and Games Day, so they brought in board games from home and puzzles and those kind of things. So they've really been mixing it up and having fun. The Great Swamp is also coming up for first grade, along with a trip to the Rosemont Gifford Zoo next week. And pre-K has already wrapped up. We had end-of-year picnics where families came and had blankets out in the backyard, and so it's been a really nice, fun culmination of some great relationships and times. Stars and Stripes Day is Friday, so we will be having a big celebration out in front when the weather cooperates, I hope. Pretty impressive. All of our littles know all of the words to Grand Old Flag. So we have been singing that at our PBIS assemblies all year. So we've got some other patriotic fun things in store for Friday. And of course, Field Day, as Mrs. Henner said, is coming up. So it's busy and very exciting.
Thank you. Thank you all for your building updates, not only today, but obviously throughout the year. New business. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the health and welfare services for the Nida City School District for the 2023-2024 school year. Motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the health and welfare services for Fayetteville Manlius Central School District for the 2023-2024 school year. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the health and welfare services with Jamesville DeWitt Central School District for the 2023-2024 school year. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the May 21st, 2024 budget and trustee vote results per attachment. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? I just want to say thank you to the community. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the bond resolution of the Canastota Central School District adopted June 11th, 2024, authorizing the issuance and sale of serial bonds or notes in anticipation of such bonds in the aggregate principal amount of $550,000 per attachment. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve speech therapy services to continue for the 2024-2025 school year for a homeschool student. I think that should be a period. Motion?
So moved.
Second? Discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carried. 7, resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby adopt the student registration and pre-registration to vote policy 0017. Motion?
So moved.
Second? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the agreement with Hillside for 2024-2025 school year. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the memorandum of agreement by and between the Canastota Central School District and the Canastota Teachers Association per attachment. Motion?
So moved.
Second? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the memorandum agreement by and between the Canastota Central School District and the Canastota Teachers Association for John Slater per attachment. Motion?
So moved.
Second? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the memorandum of agreement by and between the Canastota Central School District and the Canastota Teachers Association for Jacob Smith, per attachment. Motion?
So moved.
Second? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the agreement with 315 Therapy for 2024-2025 school year. Motion?
So moved.
Second? Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the request for interpreting services with Empire Interpreting Services for the 2024-2025 school year. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the Children's Therapy Network Agreement for the 2024-2025 school year. Motion?
So moved.
Second? Second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the Upstate Caring Partners Agreement for 2024-2025 school year. Motion?
So moved.
Second? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the Rehabilitation Services Agreement between Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired and the Canastota Central School District. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the Physician Services Agreement effective July 1st, 2024 through July 30th, 2025. Motion?
June 30th.
June 30th, excuse me, 2025. Motion?
So moved.
Second? Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried.
Deb, can you go back to 5? It needs to be a
Five.
roll call vote.
So do I need to?
So what do I need to do for 5?
It needs to be a roll call.
Oh, okay, roll call. Well, let's start.
It's got to reopen.
Lauren? For 5? You
No,
want me
you
to
do
do
it.
it all over?
It's got to reopen, right?
Yes?
Yeah.
Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the bond resolution of the Canastota Central School District adopted June 11th, 2024, authorizing the issuance and sale of serial bonds or notes in anticipation of such bonds in the aggregate principal amount of $550,000 per attachment. Motion.
First, don't we need to have, make a motion to remove his motion? Correct?
I would remove it and then
That's what I think first Scott needs to make a
Rescind it.
motion to rescind his motion.
I'd like to rescind my motion.
And then,
I'll
Second?
second that.
Okay.
Scott reset.
All those in favor, or discussion?
No.
All those in favor? Of removing it, aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. Now we'll go back to 5.
Maureen needs to do it as well.
Yes?
Okay.
So we'll start over. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the bond resolution of the Canastota Central School District adopted June 11, 2024, authorizing the issuance and sale of serial bonds or notes in anticipation of such bonds in the aggregate principal amount of $550,000 per attachment. Motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
No,
It's gotta be a
no,
roll
no,
call.
no.
Oh, we gotta do a roll
No, it's
call.
roll.
Well, let's start with Scott.
Aye.
Jen?
Aye.
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 7-0.
Thank you.
Well, we don't have our ladies here today.
No, they're pretty busy.
I know, pretty busy. Our seniors are pretty busy.
A little tied up.
A little tight. And
Yep.
they've been very active over the last weeks. Facilities.
Facilities met back on the 29th. Starting to go through now the initial processes of starting to lay the groundwork for all the spaces on the next capital project. So we have met, or I should say the district has met with the architects and met with the business officials, with all the conductive groups that are in those spaces to start putting together their wish lists of how are we going to best optimize and fully plan those spaces from the auditorium and cafeterias and parking and all that stuff. So we're just starting to get in the weeds now of finalizing those plans. We have initial budgets and stuff set for these block spaces, but now comes the fun part of actually working with the architecture team and designing these and making sure our budgets align and we can get all the stuff in there that we want aligned. So more to come. This is the exciting part. This is where all the number crunching really starts hitting the paper. So more to come, but we're just in the initial planning phases of starting to outline all that stuff with the architecture team.
I told Peachy earlier that she's got to come back once our kitchens are done, so.
Yeah, she can do the ribbon cutting ceremony.
The ribbon cutting ceremony, see?
Come now, Deb. Sure.
We're going to want to unretire.
Finance? Haven't. Policy.
That's me. So policy met again this evening, continuing to go through our audit review of all policies. So I know there's some questions before this came up. A couple people approached me about it, what the audit is. We work obviously with BOCES and their legal team to go through and review policies each year, the stuff that's on the books. What that consists of is some stuff, sometimes it's just a renewal. They want fresh eyes to be on it every year just to be keeping track of things. Sometimes it's just an update in language, that it's gender neutral or the language has changed from an education law perspective. And then sometimes it's a full revamp that things no longer apply. So we're working through the final stages of that with BOCES' help. We have a couple updates that will be in front of the board in the next couple meetings. Probably we have a couple of them that will need required readings, but nothing of action at the moment. Just continuing to work through and make sure all those things are updated and in line. So making good progress.
Safety?
Safety met on June 6th. Started out with an update on the capital project, discussed the new legislation for workplace violence that came about in the middle of the 2023-2024 school year, and that the training for that has been completed and we're in compliance, and that unfortunately, because we have to do it annually, they'll be doing it again on opening day for 2024-2025. Facilities, Nick Campbell reported back that the fire inspection was completed and submitted to NICED, and our annual notification is completed. Discussion of the lead in the water testing that is a, annual not annual, every 3-year requirement. That it was about the company that we'll be working with for that. Nurses reported back on physicals for bus drivers, and that there is an open nursing position pending if anyone knows anyone that's interested. What was the name of the program? OLAS, did you say that they apply through? Yeah. So let your nurse friends know there's an opening. And that was pretty much it.
Thank you. Academic.
I don't believe we met since the last meeting.
We're trying to get a time set up. We're looking to have a presentation
That was it.
through one of the directors at BOCES. So,
Month's been a whirlwind.
yep.
Just like, I didn't drop that ball, did I? No.
So there will be one soon, hopefully.
All right. Any news about our mascot issues?
No news.
No news.
It's been, quite a while now. It's been now in several months. So we were just talking about that at our advisory meeting earlier today. So we'll be reaching out again. We don't know how to take it as no news, good news. Sometimes the state moves very slowly in responding to things or doing things. So Just a reminder to people that we did have our process underway. We had several meetings, and we have a year to comply if it gets to the point that we need to. So that was something that came up today. I just wanted to clarify, because there was a misunderstanding. Some people thought you had to do a change in the name or branding of the district by the end of this year. It's next year. So nothing is going to, I can assure everybody, nothing's going to be happening in the next few weeks. And it'll probably be quite some time before it would. The other thing I would point out is, because people ask, well, we see other districts that are starting to, or some a while ago and some are continuing to change. We want a response because we think we had a pretty strong position. We talked directly with people from the state. They said, put your thoughts in writing. We did so. And we want to see the process through. And so we don't want to rush, and the last thing we want to do is make some type of change that is not necessary. And so sometimes it's nice to be the first, if it's innovative programming and things like that, it's nice to be first. A couple of things I've been saying to people, when it comes to the mascot or the name change, that's something we want to be very deliberate. The other thing we put in that category is electric buses. We want to be so slow and deliberate, and we do not want to be the first in on that because there's a number of problems. So put both of those things sort of in the same category.
Slow it
We
down.
need to see how things play out.
So Mr. Becerra, we're still the Raiders?
We are. Today.
We are today. I went today to pick up my yearbook, and I was told by Jake Smith that please, if you see the yearbook, this year's yearbook, please notice, he said that anywhere it was possible, they included Raiders in the yearbook. And, maybe it'll be the last time this happens, but they purposely, every place it was possible, they included the term Raiders. So, a lot of people that are wishing that we remain the Raiders. Board comments? Want to say anything? Nope.
I got something quick.
Go ahead. Go for it.
Yeah, I wanted to, I know it's been a little while since we met, but the art show that we had on the day of the election, one of the, I think, best art shows I've seen. There was art everywhere. Students did an amazing job, and the teachers did an amazing job putting that together. So I want to congratulate everybody on a successful show. I also, end of the year, so I did want to say a quick thank you to the teachers and everybody in the district that everything they've done this year, especially the extracurricular stuff, because I know it's a lot of things, free time outside the classroom, people are putting into things. So thank you to our teachers and our staff for everything you guys have done this year. And then I had one quick special thank you to Stan, Tracy, and Sean. There was a group that we had come in on a very last minute thing that I asked about, and they got us access to our facilities for a very last minute thing, and we had people coming in from Syracuse, Rochester, some of those areas, loved everything about our school and our facilities and what we had, and they were just raved about everything. So we do have a really good community of people that care, that want to kind of grow this community and make this community have a great name, and I think we do. So thank you guys for your help with that one, because that was really cool to see. So that's it.
Anyone else?
I was just going to say,
Go ahead.
I was just say thanks to all our retirees. I know you guys hear it a lot, but it doesn't go unnoticed. The bus drivers, we joke, I can't drive my own truck without the kids driving me crazy in the back seat. I can't imagine driving 60 kids around without going nuts or crashing. And the teachers, staff, Peachy, everybody I think is super important. My old saying is it takes a village. It's nice being in a small town that everybody plays an important role, no matter what that is, from our food service help to our teachers to our board members. Well deserved. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy retirement. Hope you're not like Mr. St. John, and you can find something more constructive to do. Instead of coming back. As much as we want to see you enjoy the golden times. So take it back and enjoy it.
And I would just like, again, I've been on the board for 9 years. I started way back when in 1968 when I walked into Peterborough Street. And I just would like to say thank you to everybody and to, again, I talked to Mr. Peck today. I didn't know him before. I told him he has the most difficult job in the district. I saw Peachy. She's one of the first people I saw when I came here. And again, all I can say is I basically have, I leave here after 9 years on the board with this very good feeling that, again, I got on with the idea that, and again, I know that some people don't like to hear this, but that things needed to change. And that what was here before, and I had 2 of my children here tonight. Shelley's here. I just wanted that back again. And I leave here June 30th, and I feel very, very good about what's happened. And I just hope that it continues. And again, I see the people around me, and I just, I thank you and continue on, because there's another student of mine sitting back there in the white shirt. You know what? It's good. And just like Lauren said, continue on, and thank you, thank you, thank you for everything that you have given to our kids. And that's every single one of them. Thank you. Turn it over to you.
Well, I want to start by, it's been a few weeks since the budget vote, but certainly want to thank the community publicly for the support of our school budget, and looking forward to continuing to move along. And knock on wood, it wasn't an overly controversial budget, because knock on wood, we're in good shape, but we know that we have to continue to be very prudent and vigilant and all those things as we move forward to stay in that condition. But thank you for your support. I want to make a couple of quick comments about the reconfiguration. As everyone knows, we're moving forward, and there are a lot of moving pieces to that puzzle. We're convinced it's going to be a positive thing for the district. That's why we're doing the things that we're doing, because we think ultimately it's going to help kids. It's going to put them in a better position to learn. So we also understand that, yes, we've talked about some of these things leading up to the reconfiguration, but it's new, and we understand that it takes some time for everybody to wrap their heads around it, and what are these pieces of the puzzle that are different. And so in the coming months, as we wrap up this year, head through the summer, we're really trying to build in a variety of opportunities for people to understand what to anticipate as we get into the new year. What are the things that look different? Now, I'm a big fan of getting in the room with people and talking to people. I think that's the easiest way to really convey, the important points, and to have a back and forth and look people in the eye and say, this is why we're doing what we're doing, and this is where we're going. Realize that's option one, and we're going to be scheduling some times where people can do that. Try to have a variety of times, morning, afternoon, evening, over the next several months and going into the new year, where people can learn about it. And so we welcome people to be a part of that. We're also going to try to do some things for people who have a more difficult time getting here in person. We'll do some things through our website, for example, or to get information out electronically, that if people want to learn about a particular thing. I take something that I'm a big fan of and have been for many years, the concept of that advisory period that's going to be new, for example, that we're implementing at the high school. Well, over the years, I've worked with many teachers, many students who would say that was probably the most productive part of their day, right? Because they were able to do what they needed to do. They were able to access other students or to access colleagues and get additional assistance from people and connect with them, right? It's a time to connect. It's a time to do grade level assemblies and to reinforce things that are important for the district. So it's really an important time, but it's new. And so we realize that people need to grow into that. So we'll be doing some things to give people a taste of what it could be. It will evolve over the coming years. But I can pretty much guarantee that when people see all of the utility of that time in the day, that it's going to be time well spent and really going to help, again, students and staff. So there's a lot to it. Again, we're going to layer it in, and we'll have multiple opportunities for people to meet in person. And we'll try to start feeding some things out electronically where people can get some information in small bites. And hopefully between those different options that will answer many of the questions people have. The other option people have is they can always just directly contact us if they have a question. We'll be glad to have a phone conversation or have them come in and talk to us directly. A couple other things, thinking of end-of-year events. Talked about the sports banquet, for example. Really want to thank the Lions Club. Lions Club has hosted that event for a number of years. We've had a great turnout, and it was great to recognize our students. And I just wanted to share something. There's too many awards to recognize here. There was a long ceremony, there were a lot of awards to give out, but one thing that we really, I talked to Mr. Congdon, and he was really happy, I know, and I wanted to share what he wanted shared tonight regarding an award that our district received. Mr. Congdon writes, in August at the New York State Public High School Association Section 3 meeting, we will be recognized and receive a plaque as a school of excellence by the New York State Public High School Athletic Association. The criteria for this award is at least 75% of our varsity teams receive the New York State Public High School Athletic Association Scholar Athlete Team Award. This year, 18 of our 22 varsity teams, are almost 82% qualified as a Scholar Athlete Team Award. So this is the first time in quite some time, anyways, in recent memory, that we, as a district in our sports program, they're receiving that award. So we thought that was pretty noteworthy. I know Mr. Congdon was very pleased with that and announced that and wanted to share that publicly with at the board meeting tonight. So congratulations to all of the people who received recognition, all of the students who competed and represented Canastota well. But that's a nice accomplishment. It's really nice because it's not an individual, that's a collective accomplishment that is the result of many people working hard. So congratulations to our athletic teams. Going to Mr. Cianciola's comment about the art show, I had a funny comment when I had some people who weren't familiar with this school. They walked in and said, "Where's the art show?" And I'm looking around and I'm thinking, it's sort of everywhere. Because when you went around, it wasn't like it's this place that was, the halls were covered, the gyms, the library, it was everywhere. So that I echo that comment, that it was really an impressive show and a great display of our kids' work. So congratulations. The concerts, we've had a number of concerts. What day is it? Tomorrow? No, Thursday we have another concert. I believe students again have been doing a great job, and certainly the end of year concerts are always a highlight on the calendar. So congratulations to our students for their hard work on that. A couple of things that are unique at the end of the year. In the last few years, we have our student ambassador program. So I had the opportunity to, for the last weekend, a good part of it was spent involved with some of the activities related to our student ambassadors' involvement in the International Boxing Hall of Fame's 35th annual induction ceremony. So again, I'll always say, as somebody who grew up not far away, but not right here in Canastota, I don't know if people appreciate it enough what it means to have an International Hall of Fame in our backyard. It's really cool. It's something we should be proud of. People, ironically, people who come from not just around the country, around the world, were here. Talking to people, I look up, I'm in the buffet line for people who are a little older. I certainly know who he was. I'm looking at the buffet line, and there's Jim Lampley. who in my mind is sort of the voice of sports, is really my whole life. So you're talking to people like that who've been around the world, and they were, I can't tell you, championship people, world champions, and they talked about how impressed they were with the things that Canastota's doing with their students and preparing them for real scenarios. So we're pretty proud when we're at the banquet and we have close to 40 Canastota students there Saturday night, all over the place in their uniforms and spread all around that facility and really represented the district well. So congratulations to them and the people involved with that for what is a unique, really unique program that literally no other school has the opportunity to do. So just real quick, this is quick because there's not final information on it, but you're starting to hear, right, after a long months and months and months of talking about the whole Regents system may change, and the Blue Ribbon Commission who is looking at state graduation standards. In the past, there have been some adjustments. They haven't been that big of a shift. I think we're finally maybe on the doorstep of some more substantial changes in how students can demonstrate that they are meeting state standards. Most people are not opposed to the standards. The question's been, are there other pathways to get there, to demonstrate proficiency and what students know, understand, and can do? And so this is going to be interesting, that to what degree does education look different? I think we're going to have the most significant change probably, I'd say, in the time that I've worked in schools, which is quite a while now. I think it's going to actually open the door for us to have flexibility so that things that we've done that just make sense might actually now be something that can meet requirements. That is a good and positive thing. So we're looking forward to that. Some stuff is just coming out, and quite honestly, we need more time to digest it. We need some time to meet with our BOCES representatives, and a few weeks ago, we were able to meet directly with the commissioner and the deputy commissioner, but that was a few weeks ago. So we'll keep updating people on what this could look like and what this means for our school. And speaking of Regents, they're still happening this year. So we're getting into it. I see some scowls about that, but Regents are still happening. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts and what the state does. But certainly getting in, wishing all of our students luck as they're working hard to wrap up the year and do well on their final exams. That's what I have.
Sean, can I piggyback
Yes.
here? Okay, because I got knocked out. So a couple updates as we are moving into the summer. First, I'll start with our UPK registration, which doesn't start in the summer. But as of June 3rd, we have 55 4-year-olds registered, and we have 7 3-year-olds registered. So that is a total body count of 62. 3-year-olds are counted for grant purposes as .5s. So we have 58.5 slots out of that go towards our grant funding. Some of it is TPK, some of it is our UPK program.
But again, total students were 62.
Students, 62, 55 4-year-olds, 7 3-year-olds.
Which is below our...
It is below. We have 72 slots in total. So registration is still open. We still have slots available. If there are families out there that have students, please, they can contact the Peterborough main office and they can put them in touch with the folks that can get them registered for pre-K. There are still slots available at this time. The Summer Leap Program, otherwise known as Stepping Stones, kind of has a multitude of different names. Our K-6 academic program. We do a few things. One, we purchase the program per se through BOCES. So this is one of the ways we can generate aid back. So we offer this program during the summer. 4 to 5 weeks, depending on the platform. We run it through BOCES. It is Canastota staff that fills those positions. So currently, we do have our staffing for our teachers and for our aide, and some other positions that we utilize through there. What we do not have is we don't have a nurse. So we have been turning over rocks. We have been reaching out to schools in our area and contiguous to our area for a nurse. The program cannot run without a nurse. We must have a nurse on site. So while that sounds a little bit grim, on the positive side, we are interviewing an individual tomorrow afternoon. So we will soon need to make a determination if we're running. The program does start on the 8th of July, but one of the requirements whenever we have a program and students on site is we have to have a nurse. So hopefully we will have somebody that is qualified and able to work the hours that we have available. This year it will be a 4-week program, and we'll keep you updated as we go forward. Okay. Also, the summer feeding program will begin July 8th. It runs through August 16th. That is our meal program that all children are afforded at the cost of $0. It will be located at the Robert Street Elementary Cafeteria B from 11 to 1:15. So we want to make sure that the people are aware of that, and that we did move a little bit on that program. It was always offered Monday through Thursday. It will be Monday through Friday. Okay.
Now, do flyers, or is that advertised to?
As soon as Child Nutrition hasn't released the flyers, so as soon as we get their flyers, there's specific language that needs to be on there, and we'll push that out, Parent Square, the website, and post it in different locations. But yep, we will definitely make sure that people are aware of that. And then we did roll out on June 3rd also our Bus Right app to parents, right? We rolled it out as a parent pilot, really wanting to get some feedback, making sure that the app got in the hands of the parents. They were able to download and kind of get a flavor of it before we got into the opening of the school year, so we could see if there were any really big, any big hiccups there. We don't have a mechanism for any formal data collection. The information and the comments we're getting are from our drivers and from parents talking to drivers, and thus far what has come back is very positive comments. Again, if anybody is having an issue or is unable to access the app, please call into the district. We will hook you up and make sure that if we can't help you, Bus Right will be able to help you if somebody is having difficulties. So. And then lastly, the week of the 17th, our interim audit begins. And then August 19th, our final audit for year end will begin. And shortly after that, the reports will come to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Retirement and resignations. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby accept Kelly Brennan's letter of intent to retire as an English teacher effective October 31st, Halloween 2024. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of superintendent of schools, the board does hereby accept Brianna Holloman's letter of resignation as a permanent food service helper effective at the end of the day on June 30th, 2024. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? All those opposed?
I'm late to this party here, sorry.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Permanent appointment. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby appoint Michael Cunningham as a permanent bus driver at $25.14 an hour for 5 hours per day with a 26-week probationary period effective July 1st, 2024. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby amend Jennifer Fiore's appointment as a general science teacher to a biology teacher. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Substitute appointments. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby appoint Sierra Watkins as a substitute food service helper, $15.55 an hour, effective May 29th, 2024. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby appoint Sherry Lombard as a substitute cleaner at $18 an hour effective June 12th, 2024. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Other. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby appoint Susan Anderson as Director of Curriculum and Professional Development, part-time, 5 days a month, effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, at a daily rate of $550. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby appoint Joyce Tenza as a human resources, labor relations, part-time, 4 days month, effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, at a daily rate of $550. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby appoint Amy Wiley as the CSE co-chair effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025 at a daily rate of $500. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby approve the service agreement with Susan Leonard, LPN, effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby appoint the following summer help for food service per attachment. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. 6, resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby appoint the following cleaners for summer help per attachment. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. 7, resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the board does hereby appoint the following summer help for technology per attachment. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. Public comment period.
I just make a point
Oh.
of clarification before we go that. I should have said it in my previous comments. But just for clarity, and again, I'll be the first to say we don't make a habit of running around and responding to things that are, out there on social media. That's all you'd be doing. But there were a couple of things that I wanted to mention because, there's at times some bad information kicking around, and then people were asking questions based on things that just weren't clear. So to be very clear, when we look at some of the items, some of the contracts, for example, that we're approving tonight, That's what happens in schools everywhere. When there are contracts, or there are, whether it's people or it's arrangements with service providers, that is a typical thing. That is, the contracts are resolved, then there's board action on it. Some things that are the annual appointments, they're a typical list of things that every school district typically gets from their attorney. Those are the things that fall on a reorganizational meeting agenda, for example, things that are pretty typically follow the same pattern. Just wanted to give some clarity to that, because this is typical. Again, if we're appointing someone who is a service provider, for example, you do the contract with them as we would with any other contract. When we settled, for example, the CTA agreement, then it was acted on. When we come to a agreement with other service providers, those contracts are acted on. That's what is typical practice. Just want to clarify that, because some people are asking those kinds of questions. Again, it's always easier if you just ask us. We typically will be able to give you a good answer, and an answer that will stand by in public or in any other setting. So just want to clarify that. If there are any questions, and if there's still questions, anybody, I would encourage you to reach out, and we'll definitely give you the straight answer. So sorry for that. I should have said that before.
Do we have some students in the back that would like to speak? They're being directed. So you guys are going to tell us about your trip.
All right, so hi, I'm Mackenzie. I'm currently serving as the FFA president this year and have been for the last couple of years. I just want to start with telling you guys what FFA has, and all the ag classes and everyone that I've met throughout the years doing all this stuff has meant to me. So, as you guys said, we go on lots of trips. We go meet many people. We went to Albany. We went to Indy before. Just so many different opportunities that this curriculum provides for us. Without Ms. Bernor and everyone who backs her, there's no way that we would be able to go anywhere like that. Me and Riley recently went to the state capitol and got to sit with legislators and senators and talk about agricultural issues in our community and around us, and how we as young leaders can help. And I feel that we need our school to back us, because without someone else, I feel like our voice is kind of pointless. I mean, yeah, we're talking, but we need help. We need our army. You guys are our army, and without it, it's nothing. We need help, and we need the students under us need it as well. I have two sisters that are going to be coming up, and they're looking forward to taking ag classes, being an FFA, going and having all these opportunities. And I feel like it's super helpful. Has so many leadership advances within this. I don't think I could be up here talking to you guys without it. It's just super helpful. You learn the business side of it, you learn the fun side of it, yes, the ag side of it. Just super helpful all around, and it's not just agriculture. And I think that's what's missed when it's talked about.
Hi, I'm Riley. I'm this year's vice president, and like Mackenzie was saying, you experience experiences that you've never done before. Like, where else are you going to go to the state capitol from school? Like, it's really a truly amazing thing. I myself have met multiple amazing people and have became friends with multiple amazing people through FFA. And I as well have a younger sibling that is looking forward to agriculture, and when I go home after an FFA event or something that I did in one of my ag classes throughout the day, I tell him how amazing and how fun it was, and that makes him look forward to it and him want to do it. And I've met multiple people through the FFA and ag classes that I have became friends with and will continue to be friends with. And it's just an amazing opportunity. Like Mackenzie said, we probably would not be able to be up here talking right now if it wasn't for FFA, because it just gives us a bunch of different experience and life skills.
I'm Bridget. I'm our chapter's reporter. If I didn't have the FFA program or the agricultural classes, I wouldn't be able to go into the career I want to go into, which is equine therapy. And horses have always been my passion. I've always loved riding them since I was little. And if I didn't have those programs to teach me the ag part of it, I wouldn't be able to have a farm. I wouldn't be able to grow as a person. Miss Benora is also one of my favorite teachers. I love talking to her and just talking about how the weather is, maybe just talking about how plants grow, and it's just my favorite thing to do with her.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I don't think so. Future dates, special board meeting, probably on the 25th of June, which is a Tuesday, 6:30 here in the Media Center. Need a executive session for personnel? Yes? Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. What time is it, Scott?
8:08.
Uh-oh. Scott, and then who else? Mark?
Taking track of you once again.
There's like 3 people that
So we are in executive session, and we will not be coming back. Yes?
No.
No.
Yes, we're not.
Yes, we're not.
Maybe I didn't.